Nicole Dennis here, and I am here today with the amazing Janene Babauskis. My website is theparentpreneur.com. You can find me there. And I just wanted to bring a series of interviews with some inspirational people who have been through really challenging times and have overcome those, because I know a lot of people out there are also going through challenging times in the world right now. So, you know, there are things you can do. Hi, Terry. Yes, people are getting on. So obviously this is working, trying a new streaming platform out here. And it looks okay on Facebook, Janene. So we're all good. So I first met Janene in 2015, I think. So 5 years ago now, when we both became involved in the same health and wellness company. So you have an amazing background, Janene. You've been successful in business before. You ran a very successful business with 3 daughters while you were bringing up your daughters, which is an amazing feat in itself. But at the time that we met, you had decided you could no longer be part of that business because you had some ethical issues, and that left you in a pretty challenging situation financially. Do you just want to share a little bit about like how you were in your life at the time that we met?
Yeah, thanks, Nicole, and thanks for inviting me on today. And, you know, it's sometimes even hard to remember back to those times in some ways, but in other ways I'm very present to the struggle that I was in 2014, and that I was incredibly miserable and sad, because the challenge I had financially was a threat to whether I could keep my home. And, you know, that was really important to me. So being in debt that I wasn't able to service was really bringing up so much discord for me in my life. Like, you know, having left a position with a company that I'd been with for 10 years, because ethically it wasn't working for me anymore, and hadn't worked for me for ages. But what kept me there was like, oh my God, I'm servicing this big debt because I made some investments, and my head kept saying, well, you've got to stay here because financially it's going to be very, very challenging. But you know what? Eventually my spirit caught up with me, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to go with the challenge of the financial burden rather than keep doing what I was doing. And the thing was, because I was so miserable and even my identity was challenged, because I noticed when I left that so much of my identity was caught up with, you know, who I was in this company and who I was for others in that company. And all of a sudden I didn't have that anymore. And I was really, really lost. And the thing was, like, I had the tools to actually start working with my mindset and doing all the things you need to do to propel yourself forward and pull yourself out of the mess that I was in. But I was so miserable and lost. I was really couldn't even, you know, take advantage of the things that I knew to do. So thank goodness a friend of mine who was not quite where I was, but he understood the struggle I was having, and he invited me to co-facilitate a program called the Born Rich program and run it over 9 months and help 10 other people to get what they wanted in their life. Well, I jumped at it because the thing that really would have me do the work is to support other people in that journey. And as a result of taking it on, I got very clear about a goal I had. Now, then I was going backwards financially $1,000 a week.
That's a lot. $1,000 a week is a lot to be going backwards every week.
Exactly. So in other words, my expenses of living and servicing the debt, my income that I was generating at the time was $1,000 less per week, right? So I'm going backwards. And so what it felt like was I was on a fast train heading for a cliff. That's kind of a way I used to describe it. And so
how old were you at this time as well, Janene? You were kind of like getting towards where you don't want to be, slogging it out for lots of more years.
Exactly. I was approaching 60, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my 60th birthday was in May 2015. So like this is 2014. I'm 59. I'm heading for 60. And everything that I'd worked for was being threatened. Like even who I was as a mother to my 3 daughters, like being an inspiration and a driving force for them, I was now a source of worry for them. So, of course, that further added to my misery, and I felt like such a failure because now here I am, instead of being financially stable. And, as you said, I'd worked so hard as a single parent, running a business, building a business and raising them and being a beacon of light for them as well in the world. Now I was no longer this. I was like a damaged child that just didn't know what to do with herself. And, and I was running another business, right, and doing something I loved, but I worked out there weren't enough hours in the day for me to be able to generate the kind of income that I needed to move me out of this financial disaster that I was in. And I had zero leverage in this business. Like I couldn't have worked any more hours. So like I was really, really stuck. So anyway, I started
business, right? So you were, and it was physically very demanding.
It was very demanding. I was taking cooking classes on the road. Now I have no idea how I even did it, to pack up food and keep it cold or keep it in a particular condition. And the shop that I used to travel with and get to venues that weren't really suitable for what I was doing and have all the hardship of that and have staff with me and roll out these amazing cooking classes that I used to do was very taxing on my body. I never really thought about it, but I remember one morning I got up in January 2014 and I thought, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I cannot physically do it, physically and mentally. Well, the good news then was my daughter built a cooking school. So I started running all my classes from one venue and I thought, oh my God, I've arrived, right? I've totally arrived. I'm like, doing something I love, which is cooking and teaching others how to, prepare food and have fun in the kitchen. But still, there weren't enough hours in the day for me to generate the kind of income I required for my my financial mess that I was in. So I put out in sort of late 2014 that something was out there, and I was really skeptical that something existed, but that something would be out there that would be worthy of me going, oh my goodness, everybody needs to know about this. Because 3 times in my life I'd come across technology that first of all, transformed my life in my, my own personal life at the time. And it's like, everybody needs to know about this. And like, I would just drive that passionate train and get out there and create whatever I wanted, which is, which contributed to the success that I'd experienced in my past. So anyway, I put it out there, pretty darn skeptical it was going to come in.
You're like, there can't be anything.
Like, I'm 60. What else is out there in my life that's going to be, going to be something that's going to fit that, that description? Like, it's like, oh my goodness. And it was a 9-month program. I put it out there to the universe that there'd be something out there, and that by the end of that program, I'd be earning $1,000 a week. Right, because that was going to turn the train around that was heading for the cliff.
That would get you into cash flow neutral.
Exactly. That wasn't even positive, but at least in neutral, I'd be able to generate forward from that and then get myself into a positive position, which meant that my house was safe. My home, the place where I'd lived and raised my daughters and done this amazing renovation. Like, I was so attached to keeping that, Nicole. Yeah. And that was also like, yeah, exactly. But that was kind of like an experience of my success as well. Like, if I lost that, I felt like I was losing everything, which is a bit crazy, but that's how it was occurring. So anyway, January the 4th, I got a message from Cheryl Penrose. She reached out to me and invited me in a very simple message on Facebook Messenger, which I didn't even know people could message you there. Like, seriously.
Didn't even know it existed.
Didn't know it existed. I was on my computer. I was on holidays. This message popped up the bottom right-hand corner, and I'm like, what is that? That's Cheryl Penrose, who I didn't know all that well, actually. And I thought, she's sending me a message. What is it? So I clicked on it. It was a miracle that I was on my computer at that time and even saw it and then clicked on it. Mm-hmm. And there was a link, and I clicked on it, and within 5 minutes I had goosebumps. Like, I'm like, oh, my God, there's something here. This is the thing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't an intellectual thing. It was like an emotional, spiritual awakening. This is the thing. And listen, Nicole, you know, as a health practitioner, people send me stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. Oh, Janene, you'd really like this. You'd be interested in this healing technology, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, oh, it's another one, right? That's my approach. Oh, there's another link. What is that? And it might take me weeks to have a look at it. And it's all like, oh, no, this is not calling me. It's not calling me. Mm-hmm. So anyway, clicked on it. It was calling me. That's the only way I could describe it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And fabulous Cheryl, I rang her straight away and said, what is this? You've got my attention. And I asked her at least 20 questions, which she couldn't answer any of them. It was new to her as well. She'd only been using the technology for 2 weeks. And she said, I'll get back to you. And within hours, there was a text, you know, download this Zoom. I thought, oh, my God, what is Zoom? I've never even heard of this.
You were having a technological revolution at the same time.
Seriously. Like, and you know, the thing I always say to people, listen, if I can download Zoom, anybody can. So within a short time, I was connected to you. You and Justin were in the United States on having your holiday.
Yeah.
And so not only was she connecting me to people, but in different time zones. There were you and Trish and Bobby, and you're all in different time zones, and boom, we're in a meeting.
Yeah. And you had a lot of questions for us.
I did. You might want to say something about that. Like, I was driving it hard, right?
Yeah, Janene did have, but I just wanted to recap though, like, so you were in this like pretty dark spot going back $1,000 a week financially, and then you got this message, and was it like a little like beacon of hope seeing that? Because you didn't really know what it was at the first point, but obviously it sparked something internally within you to really go, there's something here for me to look at.
Well, I was curious why Cheryl Penrose reached out to me. So that's what had me click on this little thing at the bottom of my computer. And there was a link in there, and I started watching some research that was done with the technology. And within a short space of time, that's when I got this set. I got a calling. I got a calling to keep going with it. And, so, of course, picked the phone up straight away to call Cheryl,
Yeah, so I find that's just, it's so like the universe, like if you really put it out there, the universe can will conspire to bring you what you want. I'd never met Janene before this phone call that Cheryl set up with her. Never met her, never heard of her. You didn't really know anything about her at all. All I was like, can you get on this call with Janene? She's been really successful with another business, and she's really interested in taking a look at what we've got. So if you're sitting out there, a lot of people are sitting out there at the moment, like some people have lost their jobs and things recently and really worried about what their future is going to look like. Be open to opportunities that maybe, you wouldn't necessarily be open to previously, but be open. Janene said she gets contacted by things all of the time. Have a look at this, have a look at that. But she was open to actually listen to what her inner voice was saying about this and to look more closely. So I remember you got on the call. We're on a call with you for I think an hour and a half. And I think some of the others stayed on longer. Justin and I had to go actually snow skiing. So we had to take off and do some activities and sports and things. But Janene asked so many questions. And I think you had so many questions because in your previous, the company that you'd worked with previously, you'd been really burnt by that company in some ways, like that you couldn't align with their ethics and integrity. You'd spent 10 years basically establishing that company in Victoria, which is a state of Australia, if you're listening to this from overseas. And when you parted ways, that was it. Like no more income, no money or anything, right? It was like everything you'd worked for just like gone overnight.
Exactly. And that was the model I was in, which was a direct selling model. And like the moment I stepped away, I handed my whole income to another person, because that's that model. Like there wasn't a business, right? You can't call that a business, because I'd worked really hard. I was very successful, and boom, it was gone overnight. And, and that was the challenge for me, knowing I had this debt to service and I wouldn't be able to service it. And, I left with a trusting, but of course the fear and all the worry completely got in the way of me being able to be in action and start to create what was next, apart from starting another business, which, as I said, I worked out pretty fast. That was not enough hours in the day for that to work. And the other thing was, approaching 60, like I had questions about the technology, but I had even more questions about the company, the ethos, who's behind this, and if this ship is going awesome, which I had a sense it was, like do the founders have the ability to even navigate that ship? So I had a lot of questions about that, and that was based on having, there's two technologies I've been involved with in my life that were like amazing, and I use them every day and always will, but the people behind it didn't have the integrity and didn't have the business ability to take it to where it could go, and there were failures as a result of that, and I didn't want to get involved with something like that again. So here we have up to 2.5 hours I was on that webinar. I know everyone just had to leave, and the others stayed with me, and I was able to tick all the boxes, and there were a lot of boxes to tick. So here I am. I'm engaging now with the technology for my own well-being, and also to have an experience of it, because I got to the point where, okay, well, listen, I want to experience this myself. And the Born Rich program I was facilitating completed at the end of May. So this is January. By March, I had friends and colleagues saying, oh, my God, what are you doing? You look different. You feel different. And
you look younger. Have you been to Thailand, right? I think some of them asked you.
3 people asked me after 6 weeks.
Which is code for cheap plastic surgery, people. If you don't know that, like, it's where a lot of Australians go for some lower cost work.
But let's just clarify there. They were saying good plastic surgery. Yeah. So they're saying, oh my God, you look amazing. Have you been to Thailand since I last saw you? Like, and they were 3 people, serious questions. And I go, no. But anyway, the thing was, yes, I was looking younger, right? And as for me as a health practitioner, if you're looking rusty on the outside, you're rusting out on the inside. So, things were accelerating for me in that department. I'd never looked my age.
Yeah.
But here I was, I felt I was looking my age. So that's not a good sign for your health. That's not a good sign for what's going on the inside. So, so I'm excited, my energy's up, I'm feeling different, I'm looking different, and I'm like, there's a mojo back, I'm participating in life, I'm feeling excited. So then where did I get to by the end of May? So only March I started sharing with people, because I went, well, I'm really glad you asked, because I've just learned something as a health practitioner. I've discovered something that nobody knows about. Yeah. And my friends are health practitioners, and they were discovering something through this. And by the end of May, I was generating $1,000 a week by just having fun with my friends, assisting them in understanding what it was that I'd discovered. So, I'm running a business and having these other conversations just socially. And here I am, $1,000 a week up on my income by the end of May. I mean, that's when the Born Rich program finished. My life changed. So listen, if you're listening to this and you have something that can assist others, don't hesitate. Reach out to them. Cheryl Penrose interrupted my day. It changed my life. I don't even want to think what my life would look like if and now I'm full-time in this business. I shut down another business I was running last year, and I'm just couldn't be in a better place in my life right now and moving forward, my future. And we're in challenging times right now. We're in challenging waters, right?
Definitely. A lot of people are so challenged right now. Exactly.
So reach out to people, connect in, touch base with people, just see how they're going. And if something's working for you right now in your life, whatever that is, share it with them.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can be that beacon of light for others. We just don't know. So I'm so grateful for you and Justin and your mentoring with Cheryl and with me for 5 years now. And, my friendship circle around the world has expanded so abundantly because, yes, finances are important, but, there's so many other rewards that have been there for me in this business.
Yeah. So, 5 years ago, you were in this challenge in a scary time in your life. And I can understand heading towards 60 as you were at the time and thinking, I got to start all over again is a pretty daunting thing for a lot of people. It's very different to starting again in your 20s or 30s, right?
Exactly.
Having to start again when you're kind of looking at like maybe that you want to like slow down and not be working so much all the time. So now we are in this, global kind of crisis situation, but you've already, you spent the last 5 years building your business. So for me, I know that, we have done that as well. And I feel so much for so many people who've just had like their businesses, their livelihood just taken away pretty much overnight. But for us, it's like having all of these skills to be able to have a business online. We know how to do all this stuff, right? We know how to do Zooms. We're testing out new technology for the Facebook Live today. And, we weren't even that scared to do it. Like it's because it's like, okay, we'll just try something new and we'll see how it goes. So there's a lot of benefit in developing a new skill at this time, looking at what you can develop, looking at how you can create some extra income on the side, even if you are still employed, or maybe you have lost your job, you want to go back to that at some time, or your business, but it's like creating something so you have like different streams of income. Because there's always, what I've learned is there's always crises in life. Like I've had several, my husband went bankrupt a couple of years before your major crisis, Janene, and we were in a financial crisis. Several years before that, my sister had a serious car crash and a traumatic brain injury and was in hospital interstate. And I had to like basically just drop everything and fly and be down there. And when you stop working and your income stops at the same time, that makes those situations like enormously more stressful. And like, so we've got a global crisis situation at the moment, but we're all going to have situations in our life that are challenging, like over the course of our life where we can't work for a while, or we have to look after family members, or things happen.
Yeah. And we don't know they're coming. We don't see them coming many times. And so I'm truly grateful for the opportunity. And as you say, there are people right now who are probably finding themselves in a place where I was 5 years ago. And the beauty about this business, it is an entrepreneurship, and the thing is you learn as you earn. Right? So every day there's opportunities to learn and grow and develop and educate yourself. So you don't have to be sitting there thinking, but I don't even know how to do what there is to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are people ahead of you who have been on this journey, exactly what you need to be doing, and the support and the friendship and, you know, the tools and the skills that you learn along the way will have you arrive wherever it is you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the perfect business model. I have been in 4 traditional businesses in my life. I've worked crazy hard. Most weeks my staff took home more money than me. And, you know, and seriously, the worry and the exposure and the risk that I had to take financially, you know, and then all of a sudden the internet arrives and you've got to have a website and you've got to pay people for that, and then you got to pay people to update them, and then, you know, look, there's no end of stuff you need to run a business. There's no end of expenses. I don't have any of that anymore. You know what? I've got a computer and a phone and a car, and occasionally I leave home, although not very much. As long as I've got a phone and a computer, I'm in business. I can run from anywhere in the world, as you know, as you do, and I could go up to Queensland for a few months in winter now and run my business from there. Join you in the gorgeous man and get out of
in winter.
the cold south. You know, I could, you know, we can't cross borders at the moment, but, you know, traditionally speaking, I can be anywhere in the world. I've got a simple business. I can go to the country for the weekend with my family and be running my business and be out in the garden and doing the things I love while I still am able to contribute to others and, you know, grow my business, sustain my business, whatever it is, you know. So I love this model, you know, traditional business, never again, ever.
Yeah, like when Justin had it, I don't want to do that again. It was so stressful. All those things you said, the overheads, staff, it's a lot of stress and it just never ends. It's like 24/7, like you're always thinking about it, open 7 days a week in a retail business. It's very stressful. So yes, I'm very grateful to have taken a turn from what I was doing before as well. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, look, I really need to be, you know, doing something different, like reach out to the person who shared this with you and have a talk to them about what is available, because like there is a different way available, and you know, you can like learn how to do things online. You know, Janene was you weren't the most tech savvy person when we first met, but you know how to use loads of technology now, right?
Exactly. And you know, I've got people there who can help me, and now I know myself as a person that can do stuff, right? So a lot of things I just do it because I can. And but Nicole, how many times a day do you reckon I called you when I, you know, in my first year of
we spoke every day, sometimes several times a day. Every single day.
Because I'd say, Nicole, I know you've showed me where this is, but I can't find it. I know you've shown me how to do this, but I can't find it, you know. And that's what it took, right? So you can do whatever it takes to be successful because you've got the support and the mentorship within this model. So this model is perfect, right? There's nothing
you can do it fast, you can do it slow, you can do it at whatever pace you want. That's what I love about it as well. So I like to go fast, so I went really fast at the start.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I was running the cooking school, and then I started another business along the way after I closed down the cooking school. So, you know, I could do it around these other businesses that I was running and enjoyed a lot of success. I didn't even feel like I was working. I was just having fun, being social and sharing with people. And you know, that I've never experienced this in my life. It's always been hard work, you know, and hard work doing something I love, but I wouldn't call that, I haven't experienced that at all.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is awesome. Beautiful.
So if people want to get in touch with you, Janene, how can they do that? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you? Is it through your, like, look you up on your Facebook? Your name's got to be pretty unique.
Well, it is. Do you know what? There's only one Janene Babauskis in the world, anyway, and certainly there's another. You won't find another Janene Babauskis. It's the Babauskis that's unique. So you can see my name there on the screen. You can find me on Facebook. Send me a message, and I'd love to connect and communicate with you, and share even more with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Janene, and go out there and shine your light into the world. You might be in a dark time right now, but remember, the light will come again and the good times will come again. So use this time, be open to opportunities, be open to new ways of doing things as this world goes through this huge transition. Have a great week ahead, everyone.